Hey friends, welcome to Living the KG Life, a pixie dust-filled podcast. We have a special guest back for a second episode with us, and parents, this episode is all for you. So stick around, it's going to be great. All right, friends, welcome back. We have, again, a very special guest, Jen Baptista, with us. If you did not listen to our last episode about Jen's experience in Disney and life, check it out. But Jen, so for those who did not get a chance to listen to the last episode yet, give us a quick intro.
So I am Jen Baptista. I am Kristen's sister.
Woo!
I am a wife, a mom. I am also a spiritual realtor. I teach you how to use your intuition when it comes to buying and sell your home. I'm a Reiki practitioner, a tarot reader, and a crystal dealer, and I am all those fun things wrapped into one.
The shit. She is the shit. So in today's episode, Jen is going to talk to us all about her experience going to Disney as a parent. So previous episode, we talked about kind of like life pre-marriage and kids at Disney. So let's fast forward to the mom life, parent life.
The shit show life.
The shit show life. So let's start with kind of give the folks listening some quick backgrounds. How many times have you been to Disney? What are the ages of your kids when you went? Things like that. Just so we can kind of like set the scene.
Okay, so I have 3 kids. Josie is 9.
I don't know how that's happened.
She's 9. Yes, yeah. 9. And then the twins are 6. We have been twice. We're going back in December. The first time it was a lot. Are we getting into this already? I need to
let's just hop right in. Tell us about
let me stretch out for a second.
So let's like hop into first trip. How did you, so we know how old they are right now.
Yes.
How old were they when you went on your first trip? And how did you decide that like this was the age to go? Because I feel like that's a question I get a lot from people of, is this age too young? Is this age too old? Like that, everyone's always looking for that like perfect time to go. And I think it's important that it's the perfect time for your family. So how did you decide it was the perfect time for your family to do your first trip?
So we were going, my husband's best friend lives in Tampa. We were going to visit him. And we're like, all right, we're right there. Let's just go to Disney. It was Josie's birthday. Let's surprise her and go to Disney.
So it was just Josie?
Nope, the twins were alive.
Okay.
They were there. But we went and we really had no idea what we were doing. We knew we were going to go for 2 days. It was great because I have such a magical memory from that trip. I can get into that later. But it was just, for us as a family, it was magical, but it was wrong.
And I like vividly remember you saying, we're going to go because the twins can still be like strapped in a stroller.
Yes.
And like that was a big
Contained.
piece. Like Josie has like that, age of like she's still fascinated by Disney and stuff, but the twins can experience it from the stroller.
Yes. Josie must have been turning, oh my God, I don't even remember. So it was when were the twins born? 2015, 2016. Josie was turning 4.
So quick age math.
Yeah. We went in March. We had a very stressful 2 months before that. Sam had been sick a lot. He was in the hospital for a week with a stomach bug, and then he was in the hospital. He was home for 3 days, back in the hospital for a week. He had sepsis, and we found out that Sam was immunocompromised, and he was immunodeficient. So no matter we would get him vaccinated, and the vaccines wouldn't work. And I was like, once we found this out, we had already planned our thing to Disney, and I was like, what are we doing? Like, is this a mistake? But we knew they were going to be in the stroller, confined. Everything's going to be great. So we stayed at, I'll never forget, we stayed at the Art of Animation, and Aaron picked that place just for the pool. Mm-hmm. And we walked through the lobby, and we like walk outside to like show Josie this pool, and she was like just so stoic, and she's like, okay.
Nice.
So we had like pool time that first day. Great. The next day I'm like, we're going to Magic Kingdom. We're hitting the ground running. So we go to Magic Kingdom. We're there at like the crack of dawn. We were there, I want to say, from 8 a.m. till like 9 p.m.
Holy shit, that's a long day.
It was 95 degrees out. I just remember being hot, and I remember sweating. And at some points I thought I was going to die. But we made it.
Florida heat will make you think that, for sure.
I remember like being in this huge crowd to like watch the fireworks. And I was like, what are we doing? Like, and like people like running us over to like get a great spot. And I was like, bro, I don't even like fireworks.
Yeah.
So we did that. I remember there's a picture. Oh, our room got upgraded to like this bomb suite. We had like a bedroom with a bathroom off that. We had a living room, a little kitchenette, this table that turned into like a Murphy bed. And I look back now, I'm like, that was a colossal waste because the twins still slept in a crib.
Yeah.
But there's a picture of me and Josie like sitting on the couch after we got home. It was like 11 p.m. And we're just sweaty and makeup's like half running down my face. We look like two people leaving like a rave after like 4 days. So the next day we were going to Epcot. And because we were only there for 2 days, it wasn't like, oh, if it's raining, like we'll just do it later. Nope. Torrentially downpoured the whole time.
Oh.
The twins were in a stroller. So it wasn't like side to side double stroller. It was a front to back.
Mm-hmm.
So we had one thing to pull up over the child in the front. The kid in the back, we put umbrella to cover them like a canopy. And we just walked around in ponchos. And we made the best of it. We did as best as we could. I think we pulled the plug like a little early that day. We're like, we're not doing this. And then we were going back to Epcot for dinner that night because we were going to the place where they like, the princesses all come out.
Oh, yep.
It's like pimping the princess out. It's like, boom, like 5, like in a row.
Yep. I always say the name of the place wrong. It's like Akershaw's, something like that. I've been there once. We went in February 2020 for Princess Weekend. We were like, well, we got to do at least like a princess dinner. And it was awesome. It was actually a really great experience there.
It was really fun. But I look at the pictures, my hair, I don't have like curly hair. I have bone straight hair. My hair was like frizzy. It was like after Florida rain growing. It was just big and like hot. Like the pavement was steaming.
So you have great picture memories from this trip is what you're saying.
Oh my God. We looked bad. There's actually a picture of Josie and I we went to Magic Kingdom and we were like, oh my God, we're going to we thought that was going to be a magical moment. We're going to turn the corner and Josie's going to see the castle. And she just like looked at it. But in the background, I will never forget somebody commented. They were like, is that how busy the park? It was literally the gates opened and we were there. Mm-hmm. And there you could see people in the background running. It must have been to get to like, what is
probably
that?
like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train or something like that.
Oh, really? Thunder Mountain. They must have been running to like, because they were running to like towards Tomorrowland, but there was people sprinting.
Crazy.
I was like, I'm not even awake yet.
Yeah. As Taylor Swift says, damn, it's 7 a.m.
Yeah. So that was our first trip with the kids. And we learned very quickly that you cannot do Disney in 2 days.
I was just going to say, what do you feel like is from that short trip? What was like the biggest takeaway that you had and the biggest tip that you would give somebody that like you thought you had to do, but you actually didn't need to do?
Oh God. You just need give yourself like buffer time. Mm-hmm. Give yourself time to be like, I just want to lay by the pool, or I just want to walk around my resort, or I just want to sit in my room and sleep, like whatever you want to do. But there definitely has to be like downtime. Like there has to be. If not, you're going to be it's going to be like way more difficult. Yeah, absolutely. So after that trip, obviously it was short. It sounds like there were definitely some hiccups in terms of weather and heat and stuff like that. So what made you decide to go on your second trip? So that was our big family trip in 2019, right? So, like I said, you always have to wait for the magic to happen. Mm-hmm. So we took Josie. We went to the Bibbidi Bop. Josie was like obsessed with princesses. So we went to like the Bibbidi Bop boutique before I like knew you had to like make a reservation 7 months in advance. Mm-hmm. And we showed up and they politely laughed and said they didn't. But then we went to the little shop next door and, Papa had given Josie like an exorbitant amount of money to buy something, and she picked Merida, like the costume. I was like, wow, like it was so out of like her wheelhouse, but whatever. So,
And we were like, have you even seen Brave?
never.
And
She
she's
still hasn't seen it.
And she still loves Merida. Just like the vibe of Merida, which I think
she might have seen it now, but and it actually we still have that outfit still hanging in her closet. I will not get rid of it. So we're walking around and we saw a character meet and greet, and it was Merida. And the lady was like, I'm sorry, she just finished up. She took her last people. And I was like, but like look at her, like she's dressed up. And they're like, okay, fine. And Merida stayed and talked to Josie and taught her how to shoot her bow and arrow for like an extra 5 minutes.
I love that.
And it was just us. There was nobody else around. Like Disney was taking pictures because, like this is like, they were able to like, but it was like, that's what hooked me. I was like, this is the magic moment that the people always talk about. And she gave like, Sam was sleeping. She gave him a big kiss on the cheek. So there was like a lipstick stain.
And so that was from the first trip.
Mm-hmm.
Like that magic moment
is what sold me.
Sold you for the next one.
I was like, I'm done. This is just like, they went above and beyond.
Yeah.
It could have been like, no, we're really sorry. She has like another thing.
She's practicing her archery.
Nope. It was like, get this girl in Josie with a little Merida dress and her pink Converse Velcro sneakers. And she just stood there and she stood there and Merida had this, and Josie was just so happy.
Yeah.
And that was, the rest is history.
Oh, I love that. So character meet and greets currently are not happening, or they're happening kind of like a distance kind of situation, I guess. But when character meet and greets come back, if you're ever looking for Merida, she is actually in Magic Kingdom, kind of like right outside Cosmic Rays Starlight Cafe, right next to the bathroom. Next to the bathrooms, actually. There's like a little Merida section. So if you're ever looking for Merida, when those come back, that's where you'll find her. She's actually on my list. I am almost 36, and I do have a list of character meet and greets that I have not gotten yet. But Merida's on there because everyone says that Merida's a really great experience.
It's kind of like hidden. Like you had to go like behind this like stone wall, and then there was like a stage. It was very like, you wouldn't thought it was as big as it was, or that's what it was.
Yeah, I love that. So going into then that next trip, so you're already sold. You're like, we've had these great magic moments. We want to plan our next one. What were the things that were different, or that like right off the bat you were like, this time we're doing this or we're not doing this based on your last trip?
So we knew we wanted to have like a little breathing room when it came to like the kids. We also know we were going into this. So when we went the first time, the boys were still just drinking like milk or formula. So we'll start getting into like the medical side of stuff. Yeah. So Sam has what they consider like complex medical issues. At the time it's now repaired, a type 2 laryngeal cleft. So for those who you're not down with the laryngeal cleft world, that means that there's this little kind of gap in his larynx, and it goes so that way liquids can get into his lungs and cause aspiration pneumonia. Blah. Blah. That's how I feel about all this stuff at this point. 6 years in, blah. So he aspirates, which is the technical term. So he aspirates, so all of his liquids are thickened, whether it be with like cereal, like oatmeal, powders, or his thickened water. He also had an airway disorder called laryngeal malaise, which is called floppy airways. So his airways would collapse, and he has asthma. And he's also, because he was aspirating for like the first year of his life, he has like a little bit of lung damage. So he has chronic lung disease. So like all these things, when they were younger, we just had powder, which was super easy to transport everywhere.
Yep.
Cut to now, Sam is on thickened water. It comes in like not gallon, like jugs. So getting the first trip we went on was super easy. My parents were in Fort Lauderdale. They were just able to transport it to Disney for us, because not having Sam's water is non-negotiable.
Yep.
He has to have it. And then also like all his meds that he has to be on. And then the first time we went, we also didn't have Nathan's autism diagnosis. Mm-hmm. So things had changed for us as a medical family.
Like pretty significantly.
Yeah, quite a bit between 2016 and 2019. So in 2019, I knew I definitely wanted to like take it a little bit slower.
Mm-hmm.
Nathan had also been diagnosed with epilepsy. When he's super tired, he has like the silent absence seizures where he just kind of stares into space. And so I knew long days at the park and then not sleeping in his own bed were going to,
Be a challenge.
Yeah, be difficult. So also walking in the park, like, we're there for a long time. Like, we have to pack, like, we have to make Sam's mixture. We have to get it ready for the day. We have to transport it all day. Like, it doesn't need to be refrigerated, but I'm guessing it tastes better refrigerated. Like, and we didn't want it like blazing hot.
Yeah.
Ugh. It'd be like if you're walking around anywhere, like, do you want to drink a boiling hot thing of
milk
or water, like a Poland Springs that's a solid 87 degrees? That's a no.
Yeah.
So this time we had a little bit more to figure out logistically in terms of that. I'm very thankful. I will say this. I'm very, very thankful that Sam does not. A lot of kids who have his condition require a G tube, which is a feeding tube, like into your stomach. He doesn't require that. He's able to eat solids. It's really just the liquid aspect. So I will say we are very thankful for that. The next hurdle was going to be Nathan. And, I'm going to say this. Even with kids who don't have special needs, how kids wait in line for 4 hours in a line is bananas.
Yep.
Like, I told Kristen that these podcasts need to be short because my my brain span is not very long. So I don't know how these kids do it. I don't know how anyone expects a child to do it. And people wonder why kids are having meltdowns. Well, they just stood in line for 4 hours.
Right.
They're just.
And no matter how interactive a queue is, because Disney does try to make those lines experiential to a point so that, like, you don't feel like you're just standing in line, but that's still a long ass time to wait in a line when you're not actually doing anything.
No.
You can see stuff and look at things, but it's not actually engaging or interactive, especially for kids.
Yeah. So we were a little nervous about that. The first day we went to Magic Kingdom, we went to guest relations, and we said we needed a disability pass, and they were like, okay. And they took all of our little bandy things, and as long as it was a ride for Nathan that Nathan was able to go on, we were good.
Yep.
We would go flash our thing. They would say, come back at, if it was 2:15, they'd like, come back at 3:11, and all the parties can get on the ride together. It was like huge for us.
Yeah. And so for folks that don't know or haven't had someone in their group that has special needs, guest relations will be your best friend.
Mm-hmm.
They will help you with everything. So as Jen said, especially if you walked into, let's say, Magic Kingdom, when you first walk in, you go under the train station. To the left is guest relations. It's in, I think it's Town Hall. And they will set you up with the disability pass, or you'll hear DAS pass a lot. And to Jen's point, they'll allow you to basically skip the line, kind of like an old school fast pass type, where you go, you scan your Magic Band, they'll tell you, okay, come back at 1:00. And they do a great job, even for like, it doesn't matter what the ride is. Like, we got on Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Like, there were big rides still that we didn't really have to wait for. Some of them was like, you could bring 6 people. Some of it was 10. So that's definitely something to consider too, is like how you want to really utilize a DAS pass if you need one.
Yes. And for the DAS pass, the person with the disability, then it's not legal to ask somebody what your disability is, but the person with the disability has to go on the ride.
Yep.
Which I think is so sad that somebody
that has to be even said.
Like, that has to be, but I mean, whatever. It is what it is. So the first time that it really came to be helpful was everybody went on Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
Or I think maybe me, you, Mom, and Sam didn't get on, but everybody else went on.
Yeah, I was like, I'll fall on the sword. I don't need to go on this, whatever. And so and
you'll come to find out Sam is not a roller coaster guy.
Sam is not. But so I remember I think my mom went to go somewhere. My sister Katie, Sam, and I went on the carousel. And when we got off, we went to meet with the group, and Nathan was sobbing. And I was like, oh my God, is he okay? And they're like, he loved it. Mm-hmm. After that, there were not enough roller coasters for that boy to ride.
Yep. And yeah, because I remember people were like, oh my gosh, is he okay? Like, was he scared? And they're like, nope, he was sad because he couldn't get back on. He wanted to keep going.
Those are some of my favorite pictures, are his face
Oh my God.
from those roller coasters. So that was
Especially in comparison to like dad, who's like, holy shit. And Nate's like, let's go.
yeah. Nate was like, he was just pumped,
Loving his life. He had his Minnie Mouse doll, he had his headphones on, and loving his life.
Sorry. For Nathan, we had headphones, and at one point my parents like asked, like, does he need that? I was like, I almost want them. Like, there is so much going on.
Yeah.
There are voices and there is music and there are lights, and it just was so much, and it just gave him like a sense of calm. So in a lot of pictures, he's wearing his headphones. And you know what? That's okay, because that's our family and that's real life.
Absolutely.
I have said, and I will continue to say, when we go back to Disney, I will not go in that Starbucks.
Her face right now, everyone, is so serious.
Hurt my feelings. It hurt my soul. That was the downfall of Disney for me. I was like,
maybe you'll become a Joffrey's person this trip.
There were so many people and the line was so big and they were just yelling orders. And I wish if I could have taken Nathan's headphones at that moment, I would have. And I probably would have reacted better. So headphones for us as a family was an absolute must. My dad had a giant backpack. Kristen, I think, talked about it before on the podcast.
Yeah, it was like a cooler backpack.
So we had Sam's drink in there. Like I said, for that, the hardest part was figuring like out how much he would need during the day because
especially if it's hot and he's like, feels like he wants to drink more.
Yeah, he wants to drink more, and we almost like kind of had a ration, but we didn't want to ration too much because if it's hot, he's gonna get dehydrated. If he gets dehydrated, asthma. It's very fine.
Like a chain reaction.
It was a very fine line. And when you're doing stuff, me personally, like if I'm at Disney and I go back to the hotel, you are not seeing me again. Mm-hmm. Like to go out and like chill and then go out to dinner because you have to take a bus, you have to do this. It's like, oh my God. Yeah. So for me, I was like, kind of like when we're out, but we had to like adapt with, what Sam's needs were at the time. And also like having somewhat of a routine and a schedule so that Nathan could sleep so he wouldn't have a seizure on this trip and carrying.
And we also just even had like those mini waters. We had snacks in there just as like emergency ration, to your point, of like for all of us too.
Yep. So we had Sam's inhaler. Nathan had like around that time had like a little bit of a seizure uptick. So we had an injection that he might need. God forbid he had like a full grand mal or whatever they're called now seizure. We had that. Sam's inhaler, Sam's mixture drink. One of my kids, I believe it was Sam, decided like 3 days before the trip that peanut butter tasted weird and funny. So we had to have an EpiPen just in case. Oh my God. So, we had to have like a bag that could like hold just their meds.
Yep. Cooler
thing for the drinks.
And the guy said that the cooler backpack was actually nice because it kept your back
very cool. Yeah. So it was
a little extra bonus for the guys or women that are carrying the bag.
So that is like, there was a lot of factors to take in, like how hot is it going to be? Is Sam going to get dehydrated? How is Nathan going to be? Like, how is his response? Oh, so Nathan at the time was essentially still nonverbal. So I got these little tattoos that had his name, his nickname,
you and Aaron's names,
Aaron and I's name, and our phone numbers on him. So that was my biggest fear, was God forbid something happened and he bolts, because he is a bolter, that he's going to get in this crowd and I'm never going to see my kid again. So we had these tattoos made, and actually a few people came up to me. One was a nanny, and she's like, where did you get those? That is amazing. I'm here with 4 kids. I want to die.
Yep.
So that was super helpful to have. That gave me like a little bit of a peace of mind.
And that was something that throughout the trip too, we were, tried to, because he was the only one that had it. We were like, oh, Nathan, your tattoo's so cool, and try to make it, like feel special to him. So, because I remember at first he didn't want to put it on.
Yeah.
So finding out, if you do have to do something like that, think about how you're going to like implement that with your child or the guest that's in your group is important.
So we also had like this little monkey backpack, and some people call it a leash, whatever. We used that for him. Again, my child's a bolter. What you think of me and my family dynamic means zero to me when it comes to my kid's safety. So that's what made me feel and him feel best, because like I said, if a balloon popped, if something jumped, like if anything happened and he took off, we're screwed. Like we are screwed.
Especially because this was pre-COVID, so the parks were packed.
So that's what worked for us. I will say, if you have children and they're still if they're still kind of on the youngest side, buy a cheapo stroller, because my kids were luggage by the end of the day. And your luggage. You do 12,000 steps, whatever, more.
Yeah, probably more than probably.
And my kids
I would say probably if you do like a whole day, you'll get like a good 20,000 steps in.
You're walking around, you just did 20,000 steps, you're sweating, it's hot, you're partially dehydrated, and you're seeing things, and your kids become Weekend at Bernie's, can't even stand, carry me. And now you got to carry
dead weight.
You can rent one, you can buy one, just get it. Even if you get it just for the second half of the day, get it. Just get it. It's worth it. It will pay, like, just for the chiropractor fees that you're saving on, it's worth it. 100%.
Absolutely. You've talked a lot about things that you had to plan and like prep for and really figure out how you're going to make it happen. Talk a little bit about, we talked about the disability pass, but is there any other experiences or things that you feel like were different or not at Disney with going with someone with special needs and someone who's on the autism spectrum?
So I would say, like, I wish like Disney could have like these little, like places you go, like probably the airport, like a place you can charge your phone.
Yeah.
You like punch a little code. Like I wish they had like little mini coolers for like families of like kids with like medical issues, so you can keep their meds like locked up in a place and you don't have to worry about like schlepping it everywhere.
Yep.
One of the first things that we did, Nathan did have a small seizure the first day that we were there with Leaving Magic Kingdom. So I called and, we found out what is it, like where, like if something happens, what is the local hospital? Like where is my kid going? It's just, you think a lot of weird things that like like most parents probably like wouldn't think of.
Or even just like because you're not in your like geographical element. Like when you're home, where he's gonna go, how do you get to pediatrician, where like how far children's is based on traffic or not, things like that. When you're in a different place, like we talked about before, we were asking your sister Katie, like, what happens if we call 911 and we're in the middle of a park? Yeah. What do we say? What do we do? How do they get to us? How do they find us? Yeah. And Katie was like, you're going to go to a cast member, call 911, tell them that you need the Reedy Creek, I forget what it was called, but it was like the Reedy Creek department, basically. And that's like, the fire trucks and ambulances that you'll see on Disney property. And we were like, good thing we asked, because we would have never even had to have to think about it before. Never mind have to ask the question or figure it out.
I mean, I hate having to check those boxes, but that's just our life, and that's okay. Like if Sam had an asthma attack, like a bad one, like, kids really pick like the shittiest times for like stuff to come up. Like I said, 2 or 3 days before we're going to Disney, Sam's like, oh, wow, this peanut butter makes my lips tingly. I was like, get the out of here. Like, we're not doing that. But I would rather be prepared. It just gives me like a sense of like calm. Because like we're in a different place. I don't know what their healthcare is like. I'm not saying it's going to be horrible, but I don't know if their hospital is used to dealing with a kid with a laryngeal cleft. Clefts are pretty rare for like people who don't understand like how rare they are. So I'm a part of a Facebook group like a support group for parents, and there are people who live in Europe who like have to travel all the way here because their doctors don't do it. Yeah. It's a very rare birth defect. I'm astronomically blessed to live 30 minutes away from the best children's hospital in the world. So when going to some place that's out of my comfort zone, I need to be like, okay, this is what we're going to do, X, Y, and Z. In terms of like special needs with Nate, I actually felt almost like, even though, he wore his headphones or whatever, it felt like the most normal family time for us. Because there were a plethora of people with disabilities. There's kids in a wheelchair. There's kids who are there, like, and obviously not to compare, but there's kids there who are just finishing up their cancer treatments. Like, you see, it's like when you go to children's, like, you see some of like the worst of the worst. Like when you're at Disney, you get to see like some of the best of the best for like kids who really need this trip.
Yeah, or kids that are there with Make-A-Wish. You'll see lots of Make-A-Wish kids there, which is always heartbreaking, and they're having the best trip of their life. And Disney will make sure of that as well. So if you think about, obviously you talked about thinking about what you need to bring, right? You need to bring medications. You need to have a plan for how you're going to keep it either warm, cold, whatever the necessities are there. You need to make sure that you're packing things appropriately for whatever your child or the guest in your group needs. What would you say are like the top 3 tips for someone who's planning a trip inclusive of someone with special needs of any kind or complex medical issues?
Just be prepared. Have a checklist. Like, this is what hers was like. Have a checklist. Do you have these meds, A, B, C, D? Do you have everything else that you need? We had, for Nathan, like his headphones, we had sensory toys. We had like things that would help him in the moment to help him self-regulate. Especially if it's the first trip and you don't know what you were saying earlier, like how overstimulated he may be or might experience different things. So almost like over preparing sounds like is a good way to go, so that you can have all the things available that you might need. Yeah. I'm, I'm an over everything. I'm a prepare, overshare, all that fun stuff. But for me, I was like, I think I actually had 2 inhalers. I think I carried Sam's inhaler, and I think I might have actually made Aaron carry one, because like it's like, God forbid you lose your bag.
Yeah, or to your point earlier too, of like sometimes the group might be splitting up, right? So like, what if you have the inhaler? Sam goes off with like me and mom, or Aaron and dad, or Jimmy and Katie, or like whatever the mixture of people might be. Maybe Kelly's taking him on something by herself. You want to make sure that there's ample stuff,
Meds,
supplies.
Yep. So being prepared is great, but you also have to be flexible.
That's a really good point.
You have to go. There could have been, and and I'm not saying it has to be like a huge medical emergency, but like, kids get sick, they don't feel good, they get run down, they're tired. Like, I would not at this point with my kids be like, we're gonna power through. Like, that's not gonna work for my family.
Yeah.
So if you gotta pull the plug, pull the plug. Who cares? Who cares? It's really, in the grand scheme of things,
that's gonna be more important than getting on that last ride or pushing for that last reservation.
It's just, it's not. Be flexible. Perfect example. We had tickets to the Christmas party.
Yep.
Extravaganza, whatever it was. And we went, and we, it's awesome. You go, the park's like basically empty, like hot chocolate and cookies and all these great things. We went on a couple rides. Nate was
gassed.
Garbage.
Yeah.
I think at this point we had like a little stroller. He had already had one seizure. I was like, I'm not risking this.
Yeah.
I'm going to go. I remember I had to get him. I was like, everybody else stay. I want you guys to stay and have a good time. I was like, I will go home. I was really tired. So it's kind of, but in hindsight, I probably should have brought somebody with me, because when we got to the bus, Nate was dead asleep in this carriage. How am I getting him on the bus? So I think I had to get him out of the bus, get him out of the carriage, lay him on the bus, fold up the carriage really quick, and then get back on the bus.
Yep.
But I made it work. That's what you had to do.
Yep.
Be flexible. Go with the flow.
But on that same note, being self-aware as much as possible, so that you can be flexible and say like, you know what? I'm not feeling great. The kids aren't feeling great. The whole group is just done. Like, really thinking about how you feel physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, being flexible.
Like I said, with Nate, I just was so like, okay, so we're going to stay out for 2 more hours. What? So tomorrow I really pushed the envelope and he has a large, and I missed the whole day.
Yeah.
No, that was, to me, that was like silly. I'm using finger quotations. You guys can't see this.
Yeah.
It was like silly for me. So I just called it a day.
Yeah.
And perfect example, by the time my husband got home, Sam was a hot mess. He kept going, can we just go to sleep now? And Aaron had to like literally carry him in, and his like head was like rolling around. He was just wiped. So it just, you gotta know when to say when.
Absolutely. And that's where those, you know, whether it's Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party or an after hours event, thinking about, is that experience worth more, or can you get more done than a whole park day? So rather than doing a whole park day and a party is a lot, or is it even worth it? Because usually they're like 9 to 12 or 9:30 to 12:30. It's a long ass night. Yeah. So if your kids don't sleep well, or you as an adult maybe don't sleep well, or don't function well without a lot of sleep, you know, making that choice of what's more important and what's actually going to be more valuable, not just for that day, but for the next days after that. Because if you don't get a lot of sleep, that's going to impact your next couple days too, not just that night.
And those are not cheap.
Yeah. Especially now.
Yeah. So like if we were to go now, but like for us 5, it's $1,000. Might as well just light that money on fire.
Yep.
Another thing that I don't think anyone, kids, not kids, whatever, don't take in consideration, these resorts are huge.
Absolutely.
So the last place that we stayed was Port Orleans. Adorable. Love it. Our room could not have been any further from the cafeteria. It was Guam.
Yep.
And it was long and windy. You definitely were going to get lost 2 to 3 times. Not even, and everything looks the same.
It took me, I think, until the last day of that trip to get, okay, this is actually the quickest route from like the main hall to our room.
It was almost, I want to say without even lying, at least a half a mile from our room to the cafeteria.
Yeah.
Easy. So you have to like, stuff like that you have to consider. Like if you're walking to and from the bus or to and from the cafeteria. So if you're going to get up, go eat breakfast, half mile, walk back to your room, half mile. Thankfully, we had a bus stop near our room.
Yeah.
But if we didn't,
we would have been screwed.
Another half mile.
Yeah.
Like, end of the day, when everyone's just junk, another half mile. It's just, there's so much stuff you have to, like, kind of factor in.
Yeah.
You know, and if not, you're screwed.
You're going to pay for that. And that's something, too, that you should also consider when you're booking your room. You usually online can pick kind of where you'd like to be. You can also book, and then when you call or when you check in, request that you're in a room closer to one place or the other. So if that's something that your group needs, or even if it's a solo trip and you need it, or you just don't feel like walking that far, consider that as well. So
for us as a family, there was one day we did like just a pool. Like, oh, my husband, my dad, and my brother went golfing. I took the kids to the pool. We went to Epcot. This is where you got to roll with the punches. As we're on the little bus thing, as a person who had lived in Orlando and had known some things about the parks, the parking lot was full. It was the last day. It was a Saturday. It was the last day of Food and Wine, which is AKA local day.
Yep.
We got to Epcot. It was sloppy drunks. Like, it wasn't even like, we walked in, did a couple, like we did Figment, whatever that.
I think we might have done Figment. We definitely did the Turtle Talk with Crush.
Yes, we did that.
Mom loved that.
We did like a couple.
We did like some shopping, and
we're like, all right, let's go get some food. Like, we're starving. Let's go get some food. And then maybe we'll walk around the countries. We got to Epcot and we're like, deuces. Like,
yeah, we literally got to Mexico and we were like, okay, so we all need drinks like right now.
And then we quit because people, it was one of
I think the busiest times I've ever seen Epcot in my whole life.
It was not really, I wouldn't say like it wasn't safe, but it really like wasn't like, people were just like really, really like, and I'm not, trust me, I have been that sloppy person at Epcot. I have been that person.
Same.
But it was magnified huge. And it was just something like, you know, that's when we were like, you know what? Not worth it. Let's go. And we just got back on the truck. Like, we were there for maybe 2 hours and we went home.
Yeah. And then essentially wasted a whole park day ticket on that. So really thinking about how that works too. All right. So we've talked a little bit about your previous trip. So what are you looking forward to the most with our next family trip, which is going to be in just a couple of months? We're actually Ooh, we're actually almost due for booking our dining reservations.
Yeah, we're like 78 days out.
Oh my God. So what are you most looking forward to? And what are the tips that you're going to take with you, or that really we're all going to have to take with us for this next trip?
So we're obviously going in a very unprecedented times. Sorry, I just had to get that in there. We're going in a very different time. So Sam still is immunocompromised. His levels for certain things. So the thing that he can't really fight off is like respiratory infections. So having it being what it is, no matter what you think, is very stressful for us as a family. So we will be extra cautious. I'm probably going to set a timer and my kids will go to the bathroom and wash their hands every 20 to 30 minutes. Just because you don't even realize how much stuff you touch in Disney. We'll be using hand sanitizer. We will be wearing masks, and whatever your opinion is on that, that's great. But for my family, this is what has to work for us, because I'm not taking my kid to Disney to get
sick of any kind.
Yeah, it's just not.
And even before, when we went in 2019, our mom works at a hospital, and she's always been really big on hand sanitizer and gives everybody these little mini hand sanitizers and make sure that you have them in your bag and in your pocket and in your room. Like, she's always been very big on hand sanitizer. So that's, I think, at least been a good like setup for us. But really thinking about that, I was like, do you know where all the bathrooms are? Do you know what your plan is going to be to feel the most clean and safe and comfortable throughout your trip?
So, and again, this is what is going to work for us. So, having an immune compromised child, before it was, nerve-wracking. It always sticks in the back of my head. So Sam's levels they're not awful. They're not like completely in the tank, but they're also not the best.
Yeah.
The thing with this is he gets his levels checked like every 6 months. But in that 6 months, a lot can change.
Yeah.
And he only tends to like go down. If he's never they're like gold star. Like, he literally gets his blood checked. We figure out what it is. We give him whatever, boosters, or if he needs to go on an antibiotic for a small time to help get his immune system back up, that's what we do. It's never oh, this is where he is and it's great. He has, when he was a baby, they said, oh, it's just a fluke thing. Usually when they're 2, they're fine. His system was great for a while. And then July 2020, he had surgery. They checked his numbers again and they were complete. They were bad. And the doctors are like, this is so rare. It usually never comes back like this. And I was like, well, welcome to life with Sam.
Yeah.
Again, you gotta roll with the punches. So anyways, just for us, that is what we're going to be doing. With Nate, we'll pretty much be doing
every roller coaster we can find.
Another thing is he has a huge aversion now to very loud noises and yelling, things of that nature. So we will be rocking those headphones probably the whole time, and that is fine with me. We're going to have to take a lot more things into accountability. I don't think I even really thought about that till I'm sitting here now. Now I'm having a panic attack. I have to go home and start making my list.
Yeah. But even for example, for the fireworks, we kept the headphones for Sam because Sam
hates them.
Hates fireworks. We were like, Sam, it's going to be awesome. You can wear the headphones. Even if your other kids just don't like loud noises.
Yeah, Josie wears them all the time. Yeah. We bought Josie a pair because she kept stealing Nate's.
Yeah, so just having an extra pair or having a couple extra pairs could be helpful too.
So headphones, whether you have a child with special needs or you don't, maybe you just have a kid who just doesn't like loud noises. Just get them. Who cares? So that's now that I really think about it, I should probably go home and start thinking about stuff.
And then there's a lot that's coming up too with the disability pass, where with the new Genie Plus service that's going to be coming, or Genie and Genie Plus service coming out, a lot of that stuff, which is actually really exciting, is hopefully by the time we're getting ready to go on our trip, we can set all that stuff up online or with a cast member before we even get there, so that we don't have to go to town hall and do all that stuff the first day. Trying to prepare a lot of that and make it as easy as possible so that doesn't have to be an extra stressor throughout the trip too.
To be honest, walking into town hall and getting our disability pass took all of 3.5 minutes. It was so easy. I'm so so grateful for it because it was so helpful to us. I don't think we could have really done it without that.
Yeah.
So I'm so grateful for that. Yeah, this next trip, I'm super excited about it. But I mean, there's a lot more balls in the air.
Mm-hmm. And that's something that we talk about a lot of actually at work of the key is knowing which balls are glass and which balls are rubber. Which ones will bounce back up if you drop them, which ones will be catastrophic and will smash and break if you drop them. So what you were saying earlier, be flexible and know what you can and can't do or what is okay to like chop on at the moment. That's okay. Make it what's going to feel comfortable for you and your family.
Yep. So I am really excited, but, I'm also, still nervous, I would be nervous even if there wasn't a pandemic. I would still be nervous with Sam and like his numbers where they are. That's just how I am. Until and people have said like, you need to relax. Like, it's not like, before even the pandemic, like you need just to like lighten up, like until you have seen your kid on oxygen and you've had to live in a hospital for weeks at a time and you've had your whole entire world turned upside down
in the first 6 years of his life.
And in the first year of his life to have 2 rare birth defects, like until you're there, then I just take it to the back.
Yep, absolutely. So before we jump into our last piece to wrap up the episode, because this has all been incredibly helpful, super great information. If people ask me questions, I'll usually say like, reach out to my sister. She is always like an open book. You're honest, which I think everyone loves about you. You tell it like it is and give all the info. If people have questions about planning an inclusive Disney World trip, where can they find you? Or if they're just curious about tarot or Reiki or any of that kind of stuff, where can they find you on the webs?
Oh, okay. I don't have my Instagram handle memorized at this. So
hint, it's your name.
Oh, I'm pretty sure it's Jennifer_Vining_Baptista.
So we'll drop that in the show notes too. So
yes, it is. You can just DM me. I'm more than happy to talk. Even if you have like, poor Joe's got no love on this podcast today. Hey, Joe's. Even if you have a typical kid or like, a kid that doesn't have complex needs or special needs, there are going to be moments when you're going to be like, I'm going to put you on that bench over there and I'm going to walk away from it. Every kid is going to have that moment when it's like, wow, this is not fun.
This is a lot.
And that's okay because they are also overstimulated, oversugared, lack of sleep. Like it's the perfect storm for crazy things to come up. So just really, really, really just be willing to roll with the punches. Yeah. If you have to be like, you know what? Let's just go back to the hotel and take a nap for a little while. Like that's...
I know some people that like that is built into their plans. Like they will do, Magic Kingdom in the morning, go back to the hotel, take a nap, eat some lunch, and then go back. Yeah. Because they're like, that's what we need in order for everyone to survive the day.
Okay. You have to figure out what's best for your family. And I think for us, we're never gonna have like, I think every trip will always be like a little bit different, and that's fine. We just live differently. But I know families who like go every year or every other year and they have such a groove and such in a good place. Yeah. That's awesome. That's what I think is part of the magic of Disney. Like it becomes like a second home for some people.
And knowing that you're going to come back, we've talked about this a little bit on other episodes too, where sometimes knowing going back or that you will go back will help it feel not as stressful because you're not like, I have to get every single thing in because this is the one big trip. If you say, okay, we're going to go every other year or we're going to go every year or even go multiple times a year, then okay, everything doesn't have to be perfect or we're going to miss something or feel like, major sense of FOMO.
Like you're most likely going to go, we'll say like, you're most likely going to say like, wow, that was awesome. I want to go back. So is it worth dying to like get on like 7? I still haven't been on 7 Dwarfs. I don't even know what it is. I'll go next time. That's fine. Yep. And
we are very lucky to be able to do that and have that mindset. But it's something that can really, really change that feeling of overwhelm that you might experience with the kids for sure. Yeah. And something too that I want to mention is Jen is just our first of many people to come on the podcast. I have so many friends that have kids. And what Jen was just saying is everybody does Disney differently as well. And that's what I think will be so fun about this podcast is bringing on all different people with kids, without kids, married, single, and just to kind of show everyone the different perspectives of how you can do Disney that works best for you.
Yep.
I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money. I'm not going to tell you exactly how your trip should be. It should be what you want it to be and what you want to get out of it.
Don't force the magic.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen. If you force the magic, it's going to blow up in your face.
Yep.
So don't just let it come.
Yeah. One of my favorite Walt Disney quotes is, there is no magic in magic. It's in the details.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so true. Like, whether it's forcing magic to happen or like when you walk in, like, okay, where's the magic? When's it going to happen? Sometimes you might not even realize all the magic you experience until you leave. I will never forget when we left in 2019. You were like, this Disney depression, Disney withdrawal, this shit is so real. And I was like, I know. Once you do like a longer trip and like fully immerse yourself, because I remember you were like, no one's called me princess. I haven't had any Mickey Mouse waffles. Yep. This is bullshit. And it's true. Like, sometimes you don't realize that until you like kind of come out of the bubble and you're like, oh, that was awesome.
Another thing I'm going to say, just because I'm so guilty of it, it is not worth getting in a fight with your spouse, like your partner, whatever, your kids, for the perfect Disney picture. My favorite pictures are my dad holding Nate, waiting to get on a boat, and my dad's just staring at Nathan. Or Nathan, or like my sister Katie walking with the twins and holding their hands.
Oh, love that picture.
Like, those are the pictures that I love the most.
Yep. The picture of Dad, Sam, after we went on Pirates of the Caribbean, he bought like a little treasure chest, and the whole rest of the trip, he had his little hook
in his eye.
He had his patch, he had his hat, and one of the pictures is Dad is, instead of holding Sam's hand, he's holding his hook. And literally, I die every time I see it.
Like, take those pictures. I did it. Everybody in their Disney shirts, and you got to be in front of the castle. That's not the hill to die on.
100%.
Please, I'm begging you. Like, it's not worth, for that uncomfortable bus ride where everyone's crying and not speaking. It's just,
the perfect picture is the real one.
Yep.
Of the actual, genuine, authentic moments that you have.
Like, I will be completely honest. So when we went to Disney last time, Nathan had what is called strabismus. His eye completely turned in. Every single picture that we have of Nate, he's cross-eyed.
Yep.
And every single time I look at it, I will always be like, I'll know the exact year. And I love it. Yeah. I just think I don't think we have a perfect picture. And I don't even care.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm lying. We have it in front of the Tree of Life.
Oh, yeah. With everybody.
But like, take the little pictures, because those are the ones.
And take the candid pictures, like when people aren't looking. Like, some of those are the most special ones that you'll have.
Those. Hold on. Now we're gonna make me go on my camera roll really quick. It's just.
And the cast members will do a great job as well. Like, I am a diehard PhotoPass person, but the photo that Jen was just referencing, the one in front of the Tree of Life, is everybody that was on the trip. It was all of us. And it was like, there's some funny ones, there's some silly ones, there's some like roar face pictures.
Yeah.
And those are great, but also some of the other favorite ones are the ones that, I love that one of Dad holding Sam's hook. Or, Nate on the roller coaster, who literally looks like he is experiencing the best moment of his life.
They're just, all of my pictures, I'm like, if you guys could see me, I'm literally going through my camera roll right now. It's like, I have just found a picture of like Kristen throwing in coins into the fountain with all 3 kids. Like,
I've never even seen that picture, I don't think.
Yeah. I live for core memories. That's what makes me the happiest. I think a funny story. So we have a picture of all of us. This lovely gentleman we were right by Toy Story Land, took our pic, was nice enough to take a picture, and then he jumped in a picture, and he was adorable.
Yeah, he was a cast member, and he was like, one of the ones that's like in a suit, so you're like, okay, he's going to be good. He's going to be like great if we ask him to take a picture for us.
He was just cute as a button. And
he took some selfies. Like, he took our group pictures and then like turned the camera and like got himself in on some.
And that's like, that's the stuff that I love. Like,
Yeah.
it's just look around and just take like, you know, if your kid's getting their face painted, like take those ones. Like that's the stuff that matters. Those perfect family photos, you have your whole life to take those. Take the real ones.
I love that. So as we wrap up, let's do another speed round of favorites. So the last episode that we did was more of like growing up and kind of like your favorites of things then. Let's do your favorites of these same things, maybe as a parent or with the kids or in like today's day and age.
Okay.
So what is your favorite resort to stay at or visit?
As an adult?
Yeah.
Well, my dream is to stay at the G Flow because the Grand Floridian, for those who are not down with the lingo, the G Flow, because that is just like, it sounds really like it's stat. Like you're on the monorail. Like you are Jay-Z straight up big pimpin'. Like that is where it is at. That is like, that's my goals. I'm going to manifest that. Meg O'Neill, if you're listening, let's manifest G Flow.
Love it. What about restaurant on property?
We went to, my sister Katie worked at a really great restaurant. It was like very fancy. So if you want to do like a fancy sit down dinner, it was in Animal Kingdom. I have zero idea what it's called. Tiffin's. Thank you. It was delicious. Oh, wait, I'm lying to you people. I apologize. Chef Mickey's.
I was just going to say, I can't believe Chef Mickey's has not come up yet.
Chef
But
Mickey's.
yes, Tiffin's is incredible at Animal Kingdom. But tell us why you live and die for Chef Mickey's, because same. And that's like a hot take. A lot of people don't love Chef Mickey's.
What?
Yeah. I don't understand. I'm obsessed. I will forever be obsessed.
They're dead to me. So, it's just, I mean, it's like, well, before it was buffet. I don't know what it's like now, but it was just.
Yeah, now it's family style, but I believe the buffet is probably going to be coming back. It seems like buffets are starting to like slowly trickle back in at Disney World right now.
It's just, you're in the Contemporary, which is another like Disney staple. So like, again, I live there. I've been going there since, I'm sure people have been going longer, but whatever. It's like an original. So it's in the Contemporary.
Character dining.
The character dining. It's just like they play music and you swing your napkin around and it's just like it's just like silly family fun or silly food fun, which is like what Disney should be about.
100%.
You can't take yourself seriously at Chef Mickey's.
100%. And if anybody is following me on Instagram at Living the KG Life, I will always post about Chef Mickey's when I go, because it's like, even if I'm going by myself, I will make sure that I go check it out. And I recently posted a video of Donald dancing. Like, homie is living his best life. Like, they just have a good time and great character interactions at Chef Mickey's.
When Marla and I lived there, we had 3 guy friends come and visit us, and we took them to Chef Mickey's.
Yes.
And they're these, like, you know, club kids, Cambridge.
Boston bro dudes.
Like, so cool. Well, one was from the North End, 2 are from Cambridge. And I have the pictures, and they're swinging around their napkins, and they're laughing their asses off. And they're some of my favorite pictures because that's the essence of Chef Mickey's.
Yeah. Highly recommend. Highly recommend. All right. Favorite park?
So it's Magic Kingdom. It's just magic.
Yep.
They don't call it Ordinary Kingdom.
Yeah.
It's Magic Kingdom.
For a reason. Favorite ride at each park?
Space Mountain, Tower of Terror, Epcot. I don't know if they have this time around. I loved the Crush thing.
Oh, yep. Turtle Talk with Crush.
Yeah. Well, the interactive one.
Yep.
Whatever that was. I loved that. I loved the safari. It was super cool because we all went on as a family. It's like one of the few things that we could all do as a family. Mm-hmm. The animals were amazing, but I'm not going to lie. I didn't even go on the ride, but everybody went on the Bugs Life. We took Nate to for a little sensory break, and everybody else went on the Bugs Life. And I guess Sam literally lost his mind because it feels like bugs are crawling on you. And Sam lost his. I didn't even see it, and I laughed.
I can tell this briefly because I was the one to not only experience it with Sam, but he crawled on me and we left. So if you've done, it's tough. It's tough to be a bug. It's almost kind of like, Muppets Vision 3D or something like that, where it's like a show, and then there's like, mist that spits out at you, and then there's like, a stink bug, and then the room smells like they have all these different sensory kind of things, which is why we were like, no, it's not gonna be good for Nate, so we'll take Sam. And you know, it's like they teach you about all these bugs, and all of this, I forget which bug it was. All of a sudden, Sam goes, "Oh my God, get me out of here, get me out of here," and starts screaming. And we were all like in this one big long row, and we were like in the middle, and I was like, "Oh my God." Now he starts crawling on me, like on my shoulder, over like around my head. And I was like, I'm going to step out. I'm going to take Sam out. He was sobbing, screaming, "Get me out of here, get me out of here." And we were like, "Okay." I was like, "Buddy, you're going to have to like calm down and like hang on a sec so I can like get us out of here." And he was like crawling up my back. I've never seen a reaction quite like it, truly, in my entire life.
So
and poor Sam. I wouldn't be surprised. That's why I'm always surprised that he even likes bugs.
Didn't go on the ride. That's when Aaron and I discovered the buffalo chicken tater tots.
Oh, so good.
So that's probably why it's also my favorite ride, 'cause that's when I got to discover those. So yeah.
I love that. Well, that was the next question was snacks. So buffalo chicken tater tots, we can definitely take that
Also,
one.
the endless popcorn. Buy the souvenir bucket. It was like $8.
Worth it.
We must have filled that like 5 times.
I love that. Favorite non-park activity?
Swimming with the kids and just like chilling out. For us personally, having a fancy hotel was not a big thing because I just knew we were never going to be in the room.
Yeah.
For us personally. But like, you know, swimming in the pool and just get like, if you can spend time in your resort and get to know like those cast members you don't have to be like just be in a park to be a cast member. They are also cast members and they make that trip just as magical.
Absolutely.
Coming into like, you know, towels that are made into like an elephant. You know, I can barely fold a towel.
Yeah. And they have fun activities usually too by the pool.
Yeah.
By the pool. Sometimes they'll do like tie-dye or they'll do like different like musical kind of activities.
Yeah.
So those are always fun. And what Jen mentioned earlier, the guys in the morning when we did the pool, they went and golfed. So, and Jimmy and Aaron and my dad all were like, you know, golf was awesome.
Yeah.
So if that's anybody in your group likes to golf, definitely check that out as well. And for the last part of this episode, I've been waiting since I decided to do this podcast for this story to come out. I'm so excited. So tell us about your favorite magic moment with the kids at Disney.
Okay. So my favorite magic moment was we were leaving Magic Kingdom the first day. We were at
like right at the front of the park.
Yeah, right in front of the park.
Where there's like the Meet Mickey and Minnie on the like right hand
and
side.
it just so happened to be like a Meet Mickey time. And we had brought, Josie's class had made, it was Mickey's birthday. So we brought Mickey birthday cards. So we were like, sweet, knock this out the first day. So we go and we meet Mickey. And Josie and Sam both had like little autograph books, and he signed, you know, we gave them to Mickey. He was so thankful, and he wrote it in their books, and he also signed a card for the class and then a card for Nate. And, you know, at that time, Nathan was still nonverbal, so we did like a lot, and he had his headphones on, so we did like a lot of sign language with him. Oh, P.S. We also brought his talking tablet. If your child has a talking tablet, please bring it to Disney. And we're back to the story. So we were signing a lot with Nathan. So Mickey bent down as we were leaving, and he started signing to Nathan. And we were like, oh, it was just like.
Not a dry eye.
Not a dry eye.
Anywhere around. Especially he signed I love you to Nate, and I was like, goodbye. I'm done.
He's like, you know, he signed like a little bit, and then he signed I love you. And we're like, and I'm like, sweet. We just knocked out the magical moment. First day. Trip's over. We can go home.
Yep.
So the next day we go to
Hollywood Studios. And we see there's Minnie. She's all dressed up fabulous. And then there was Mickey as Fantasia. Yep. That is actually one of my other favorite meet and greets because Minnie, it's like a Hollywood runway, like red carpet look. And then Sorcerer Mickey.
So we do Minnie and we're like, we have to do Mickey because it's on the way out.
Yeah.
So he start like looking around. He's like, you know, talking to the kids, and he goes to do a group hug, and he takes Nathan's arm and he points to Nathan's tattoo, and he starts like freaking out, and he was like
jumping up and down.
And he's like pointing to his head, and he was like doing like a rewind thing with his hand.
And he was doing like pointing to his head and then his nose and then the kids.
Yeah.
So it was like head, nose, kids. And we're like, you know, obviously the cast members, like, you know, Mickey's friend, will usually try to figure out like what he was talking about. So everybody's like, you know, like playing charades, trying to guess what Mickey is trying to say to us.
So he's like pointing to his head, and he's like, and Katie, I love you so much. Katie's like, that's right. He's super smart. And then he kept just saying like, he just kept going, like pointing his head and like pointing, like almost like we figured out like he was pointing back in time. And he was saying, I remember them from yesterday. So it was Nathan's tattoo on his arm, which is what it was like his like aha moment. So like we were like, of all the characters in all of the parks at this moment, and when I tell you Mickey was so excited and we're screaming, Chris is going, you remember him from yesterday? Like her voice was like fluctuating because we were in tears, and he was just I thought at one point the guy, like the character, was gonna like take off its head and be like, I remember you from yesterday. They were so, he was so excited. We were so excited. We were crying.
Oh my God, the cast members were crying. Like everybody was like, I can't believe that just happened.
Like he just wanted to like gobble Nate up. He was just so immersed by Nathan. And it was just, I got 2 magical moments. And it was just, it's something I will never, ever, ever forget. It was amazing.
I love that. And that is literally a story that will go down in history in our family, because I feel like we tell it often, and we also have it all on video. So like it's something that we can't even, you don't even have to like even describe it. You can just show the video, and everybody that sees it are like, holy shit, that actually happened. Like it is magical the 400th time you watched it, or the first time, or you were there in person. It's incredible.
He remembers you from yesterday.
Yeah. Literally,
we were so
guys,
happy.
my voice has never been so loud because I was literally about to just like break down into tears. But that is also one of my favorite moments at Disney World ever. So I'm really glad that you shared that story. And that's going to wrap up our episode. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
This was awesome. And like I mentioned, we're going to have lots of other folks coming on to talk about their stories at Disney World, how they plan with kids and families and groups. And then you'll also hear lots of smaller group trips or solo trips and things like that. So thanks for hanging out, and we hope you'll stick around because it's going to be great.